Dear learners, I am Christina Georgy, your academic counselor. Last session, we discussed the life and works of Spenser. If you were in class, you would have got a detailed idea. If in case you were not able to attend the session, please go to our playlist titled MEG-01. There you can find the recorded versions of the classes provided. Alright, so as I mentioned in the previous unit, we examined the shorter works of Spenser. Yes, there we analyzed the works particularly with respect to the tradition of courtly love. I suppose you remember. In this particular unit, we'll continue that exploration of his poetry, Spenser's poetry, but here we'll focus on the long poems, namely two long poems which are Epithalamion and Prothalamion. Now, shall we move on to the Prothalamion? This Prothalamion can be considered as a neologism coined by Spenser. Now comes the question, what do you mean by the term neologism? This is very easy. Just split this word into two. Neo plus logism is equal to neologism. So what would be the word meaning? It's very easy. Neo means new. Logism, this is somewhere related to the term word. Okay, it's kind of related to word. So, new word? Yes, neologism refers to a new word, phrase or expression. So here, Prothalamion is a new word invented by whom? Who invented this word? It's common logic. Yes, true, correct. Spenser invented this word. I'm happy that you answered. So this particular word means spousal words. Okay, spousal verse. S-P-O-U-S-A-L-V-E-R-S-E. Spousal verse. Okay, so this Prothalamion is also a wedding song, but it's not written to celebrate the wedding of Spenser and Boyle. It is written to celebrate the double betrothal of Catherine and Elizabeth Somerset, daughters of the Earl of Worcester. Just a minute. So there were two daughters for the Earl, and their names were namely Catherine and Elizabeth. So both of them were getting betrothed. So as part of that occasion, to celebrate their betrothal, this particular song was written. Here there are 10 stanzas, and we can say that these 10 stanzas are modeled on Italian canzoni. Okay, that is a trivia. It's not so important to remember that. And this betrothal takes place at Essex House, because the Earl of Essex is complimented for his valiant fighting at a place, especially during the attack on Spanish Armada. So as a result of that, this betrothal takes place at the Essex House. All these are history. If you don't remember, it's fine. Just refer to your history, English history textbook that you are referring to. Here also we have a refrain. This refrain is much more popular. I suppose most of you must have heard this. Sweet themes, run softly till I end my song. That is the refrain of Prothalamion. Sweet themes, run softly till I end my song. Yes. So we can also see some technical innovations with respect to this poem. We'll see all those while we discuss the details mentioned in our study material. So shall we have a look at the study material as such? Shall we? The refrain, that's simple. Sweet themes, run softly till I end my song. If in case you are not able to follow, just Google the refrain, you will get that. Alright. Or else you can listen to the recording when it is published. Alright. Yes. So we'll move on to the next session. Yes. So the study material also mentions that it is a Spenserian neologism. It was written on the occasion of the wedding of Elizabeth and Catherine, daughters of Edward Somerset, on 8th November 1596. The wedding was formalized at the Strand in London in Essex House. That's also mentioned here. So Prothalamion too uses some of the devices of the earlier poem, especially in its structure, because it has got a pastoral setting. That is, it is set near the bank of the river Thames, and it too employs a couplet that is at the end of the first stanza, and that is reworked into a refrain. It is also mentioned in your textbook. So that is towards the middle of page number 33. You have that refrain: sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song. So one similarity with Epithalamion is that here also we see the invocation of the muses. Like Epithalamion, Prothalamion too eventually invokes gods. Here pagan gods are invoked. Why are they invited? To bless the couples and also to guard them from all ills. So make sure that you have an idea regarding the nations, the lines that come between these descriptions, because those are the lines that are very likely to appear for your TEE. I was saying for your TEE there will be a set of questions, annotations. So there will be lines and you will have to describe those lines. So these 4 to 8 lines that come between the sections are to be noted. Alright. So if it is from Epithalamion, it will be very easy for you to write. Similarly, if it is from Prothalamion, if you have an idea regarding the content of the poem along with the lines specified, yes, I answered your question, Hari. It is said that more or less these are the only resemblances that these two poems share. The poem, that is the latter half of the poem, makes no attempt to elaborate on the wedding or the festivities that follow. That's not the wedding that is being described, but it is the bridal procession down the river Thames leading up to Essex House, where the wedding will be solemnized. Okay, this is what happens in Prothalamion. It's a bit different from the celebration of wedding that happens in the other poem. So the real significance of Prothalamion lies in its poetic achievements and more in its biographical value. Those aspects you can see on page number 34. There is a mention on patronage, I suppose. Yes. Poem written in honor of his patron's friend suggests the anger and rejection that Spenser must have felt towards the entire system of patronage. Remember those times everybody had patrons and Spenser was not much happy about that, and such a feeling is also evident in this poem is what is mentioned here. Yes, there is a mention of lord in this poem, and it is said that it is referred to the Earl of Leicester, Spenser's patron. Okay, Earl of Leicester, Spenser's patron. Yes. So this reference suggests that it is the impersonality of the patronage system in which one patron can and should replace other that most bothers Spenser. It is not just the system, but this, convention that bothers him so much. So one thing that you should know is to have proper idea about how to compare these two poems. We already dealt with some points. Apart from that, in comparison to the Prothalamion, Spenser's other wedding song, that is Epithalamion, is the integration of the multiple functions of the poem. That is, it is more successful in Epithalamion, we can say that way. In comparison to the Prothalamion, Epithalamion, the integration of the multiple functions of the poem is therefore more successful in this particular poem. You can find other differences, that is, this poem, Prothalamion, is vastly different from Epithalamion, where Epithalamion is sensual and consistent throughout its lengths and themes. Prothalamion is shorter, more pensive, and it is not very sensual in nature. Remember how these body parts were fragmented and described in Epithalamion. In Prothalamion, those things are not at all important. Alright, so find some time to find your own differences, analyze it, and then present your answer for your TEE. I've already told you how to write a critical analysis of a poem. So if we summarize this unit, we can say that we studied two of the most celebrated long poems of Spenser, that is the Epithalamion and the Prothalamion. And by that we have come to the end of this block asset. Yes, in the last two sessions we dealt with block 2, titled Undertaking a Study of Spenser, where we had an idea regarding the historical background with respect to the Renaissance. Then we moved on to the life and works of Spenser. Thereafter we studied the Amority sonnets, and we finally dealt with the Prothalamion and the Epithalamion. Now it's time for us to move on to the next block, that is block 3, titled Metaphysical Poetry. We'll deal with block 3 in our next session.